the purpose of your visit here, Eric?
Somewhat of a holiday, and to help my veterinarian, Dr. Scott McDonald, here at Robert So's Aviary, for a couple days, and then a couple days of just holiday to see. I love birds, to see birds, aviaries, people that like birds. Met quite a few of them here.
And what about in Thailand? Is that also a bird trip?
Same thing for birds, mostly for birds. A little bit of enjoyment, relaxing. I like to eat good Asian food. My mom is Indonesian and my dad is Dutch, so that's my background. So the food is good. My diet went to shit here, so.
Okay, let's talk about birds. Are you into big birds? I mean, in your favorite birds? What's your favorite parrot?
Honestly, what's made me, and one of my favorites is conures. I love conures.
Like the sun conures.
All the type of conures. Green cheeks, suns, gendays. We have most species of conures at our farm. I also love lories and cockatoos. Macaws are not my big thing. Amazons I don't really care a lot for. We do have some on the farm. African greys I kind of like, but my main passion is conures. You know, I like the lories.
You know, here in the Philippines, the best seller for medium parrots is the sun conure.
Is the sun conure.
Yeah.
And I believe that America as well, in my opinion, the only drawback to the sun conure, and they would be a lot better pet if they weren't as loud. A lot of people buy them and then they realize that they put them in their apartment and they go, man, this is too loud of a bird.
Especially in the Manila area, they really like the color of the bird, but when they take it home and when the birds shout, and then that's the problem starts.
Yeah, they're extremely loud.
There's no solution to that noise, right?
No, not really. You can kind of tame them sometimes. Train them a little bit to not be so loud, but it's in their DNA. The other bad thing about sun conures is that, not bad, but when they're babies, they're not full colored. So a lot of times when we're selling them in America to the pet trade, we have to educate the people buying them to explain and show them, at least now on our phone, what they'll look like as adults. And most people are flabbergasted when they see an adult one, the coloring.
Is it also famous in the US of A, the red factor sun conure?
Yes, they're gaining popularity, but they're not nearly as common as the regular.
So as a pet, it's more better for a bird to be pet by the normal, just the normal.
A red factor is going to cost you quite a bit more money, and for every 100 sun conures sold, there's maybe one red factor sun conure sold. So therefore, it's finding a red factor, and there are breeders that specialize in them. But majority, if you went to a pet shop in America, you would find just a standard sun conure.
Okay. What about for the big birds? What can you say about the big birds that you see here compared with the US?
About the same. The difference I've seen here in the Philippines with the big birds a lot of times is that it's like Europe, where all the cages are aviaries, where you walk into them, versus America, most of them, if not all of them, are suspended off the ground. Here they're
like that.
Correct, but those are more for your smaller birds. What I've seen here is the macaws are in aviaries that you walk into, and that's fine too. It's just in America we use them suspended. They're a little bit easier and cheaper to build, easier to clean, and the drawback is getting the bird out of it.
Is it true that the advantage of the raised up cage is they're less prone to the parasites from the ground?
Correct. You won't get like worm. We don't worm our birds every year like Europeans do. I'm not sure if you guys worm yearly here.
Actually, I don't, since my setup is also raised up.
Yeah, see, so when you got them suspended, you don't have to worry.
I need to deworm if there's no problem, right? If there's no worm. Or do you do it like yearly? Do you have to do that, the worming?
If your birds are in aviaries, a lot of people do. We don't worm. If we get birds in from somebody else, we might worm them once. And then when we put them in our holding cages after quarantine, we bring them out in our breeding cages, which are suspended. We never worm them because they're not able to get to the ground. And because they're in a building, not exposed, there's no birds and flying over them, dropping parasites in their food and whatnot.
Well, here in the Philippines, the second most famous birds are the Indian ringnecks. But now the buying of those birds are like in the flat end of the market. So how is it in the US of
The
A?
same thing. It's kind of flatlined. It was very, very good several years ago. Whenever a new mutation comes out, sparks interest in a certain bird, and ringnecks were huge. The Hispanic community in California and other parts of the United States really got into them. But now that there's not a brand new mutation, it's kind of plateaued and fallen a little bit. But there's still a lot of people. We breed quite a few of them. We have about 400 breeding pair of ringnecks of every
400.
yeah, 400. Every color of the rainbow, from the normal green to the emerald cobalt opaline cleartail or emerald gray opaline cleartail. We're trying to work with a new one right now that I've been showing to a few people here.
What's that? What's that?
It's a Lutino, but it's coming out with a red head. So almost like a cleartail, but this is just popped out from a Lutino pair 2 years ago. And so we'll see this year what happens.
So if you come back here, you give us report about that.
Sure, sure.